I was working on a demand forecasting system and everything looked right. The model was working, the predictions were coming, but something still felt off, and that's where everything changed. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through what this project actually is, where did my model fail, and why is demand forecasting is hard, what I changed, and how I turned it into a real system. At this core, this project is an AI powered demand forecasting system, which means it predicts how many products will be needed in the future. Now, this might sound very simple to you, but in the real world, this is one of the most critical problems in supply chain. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you're running a store. If you stock too much, products expire, money is wasted. If you stock too little, customers leave, revenue is lost. So the question becomes, how much should I stock next week? And that's exactly what the system tries to solve. This is the same problem companies like Amazon, Walmart, Flipkart are solving at scale. When I started building this, I did what most people do. I trained a model using past sales data, and technically it worked. It learned patterns, it gave predictions, everything looked correct. But when I actually looked deeper, I realized something important. It was only learning patterns, not reality. For examples, weekend spikes missed, sudden demand jumps missed, monthly trends inconsistent. And that's when I understood my model wasn't wrong, my approach was incomplete. The biggest mistake I made was I assumed the future will behave like the past. But that's not how real systems work. Demand is influenced by human behavior, timing, and external factors. In my model, it only had numbers, no context, no understanding. So the problem wasn't the model, the problem was the data. So instead of switching models, I changed the way I prepared the data. I started adding context. I introduced features like lag features, what happened yesterday, last week, rolling averages, what's the trend over time based signals, week, month, and day patterns, behavioral indicators. Is it a weekend? Is it the start of the month? Now, instead of just feeding numbers, I was feeding meaning. And this is very important concept. AI is not just about algorithms, it's about how well your data represents reality. Then I took this one step further. I didn't just build a model, I built a system. Let me show you how it works. First, we input data. It can be any data set. The system adapts automatically. Then comes pre processing, cleaning, sorting, formatting. Then feature engineering. This is where intelligence is added. Then model training using random forest. And finally, the outputs. And next, I want to make this even further. Not just predicting demand, but actually automating supply chain decisions. Most people think AI is about models, but real AI is about understanding system.